Have a
everybody.
have a fabulous show.
And sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. Let's bring in some good vibration.
Okay.
When I hear that trumpet sound, I will lay my burdens down. I will lay them deep into the ground. Then I know that I am glory bound. I'll be traveling far from home, but I won't be looking for too long. I'll be crossing o'er the great divide. In a better home, soon I will reside. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. When I'm in my resting place, I look on my mother's face. Never more will I have to know all the loneliness that plagues me so. So I'm waiting for that train to come. I know where she's coming from. Listen, can you hear her on the track? When I'm bored, I won't be looking back. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Some bright morning, when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Oh, 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 all the single ladies, 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 all the single ladies. So put your hands up, 'cause if you like it, then you should put a ring on it. If you like it, then you should put a ring on it. Don't be mad when you see that he want it. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Oh, 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 oh,
All right. We want to give special gratitude to Glory Bound. That was the singing trio of Glory Bound.
Yeah.
Be sure and check out all of their great music on Bluegrass
I love
Melody.
them. Very peaceful, soothing, but also a little tongue in cheek there. I thought, single lady? If you like it, just put a ring on it. Where have I heard that?
Yeah. I think what I like about them as a trio is the humility, the simplicity, just three great
A love for what
voices.
they're doing.
Well, also, a bluegrass melody. I think that's what they're called, right? A glory bound. Excuse me. Glory bound is not a. They're not ego driven.
No.
You know,
Not at all.
as a performance trio, they.
I could feel the humility.
Yeah, yeah. So glory bound. Three women with a voice. So yeah. That was the Creekside Sessions recording. What I like about their music, of course, they're still performing occasionally together. There's no ego there.
Yeah.
And what I also love about Glory Bound is that they focus on their vocals and they don't put a lot into the instrumental.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
Yeah,
they have that great
There was
entertainment
such a
value.
purity to it.
Yeah,
Very, very basic,
I
wholesome.
agree. I
I loved
agree.
it. I enjoyed that a lot.
All right, I'm going to come a little closer here.
Okay.
So, listen, Chucky Poo, how have you been? I'm just
I've been-
making my tea while I'm putting a ring on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good. I've been working for you, and I've been doing some artwork for people. I did a reading the other day, and life is good. Life is good. We were talking before the show about Europe and Rome and the churches and how spiritually fulfilling it was for us, and we're still carrying that in our hearts and in our souls.
Yes, the spiritual benefits of visiting Rome. Even though it was just an honor and a privilege to be able to afford a trip like that. We saved, we scrimped.
Yeah.
But I think that it was also a kind of pilgrimage for both of us to
Very
be able
much
to
so.
travel.
I
Can you
knew
talk a little bit about that? Talk a little bit about pilgrimage.
Well, I knew intuitively. We were vacillating all over the place. We knew we were going to London. We knew we were going to Wales, but where else? And we kept going back and forth. And my heart just kept going back to Italy, to Rome. I had been there once many years ago. I'd been to Venice. Never had been to Rome, never been to Florence. I just had this feeling like this is a spiritual journey. There is a very important reason for coming here.
Yes.
I couldn't quite define it. And I don't know if you felt that way, but I think you definitely felt it once you were there.
I mean, so much of civilization, so much history. The people are very special. Let's just put it that way. The people are very special.
I encountered hospitality everywhere I went. People were so warm, friendly, but also we commented on how there was just a very basic spirituality amongst the people. There was nothing pretentious about it. It was just basic. It was intrinsic to who they were, both individually and as a community. And you could feel that all throughout the city.
I like this idea that we kept coming in contact with of people who gave everything to God. Everything was for the glory of God. And I mean, for me, I know we all have different spiritual, we all have different spiritual callings, but
different approaches.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like a eclectic Jewish Buddhist, but I like a lot of the yoga stuff too. I like the yoga mantras as well. But for me, it was a feeling that we had kind of arrived at the cradle of the birth of this particular faith, Christianity.
Sure, a city that goes back 2,000 years, very much so.
Yeah, and I think that what I liked about going with you is I was able to, because I've been to Rome before, but I don't think that it had, and I went to the Vatican twice, but I don't think I had ever had that.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I don't think I had ever had the experience, the kind of spiritual experience that I had when I went with you. It was something very spiritual happened.
And I think you also, if I may say, you got to experience it anew through my eyes, through my perspective, because oh God, look at me filling my face there. That was our first night there.
What are we eating? We're eating.
I was eating ravioli.
Yeah, but this is the grilled eggplant with garlic.
Oh, yes.
It's a piece of eggplant that they have grilled, and they've put some garlic and pepper, red pepper flakes on it, and olive oil, and the balsamic vinaigrette and bread. Mm-hmm. And the waiter pointed to the balsamic vinaigrette, and he said, "Please." And we just kind of sat there kind of dumb, like not knowing what to do. And then we tasted it, and it dawned on us that you're supposed to pour the vinaigrette on top of this grilled slice of eggplant. And what I loved about that particular dish, Chuck, is that it seems like it would be so simple. It's just simply a simple slice of grilled eggplant with a little bit of
Right.
garlic, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of pepper flake, a little bit of salt, that's been turned and given to you. By the way, the bread was out of this world. Now that is
Wasn't
real
it?
bread. That is
That's
bread.
real bread. Yes.
And I'll tell you, that's a different wheat than we have here in the United
It
States.
most
And boy,
certainly
did
is.
I felt completely different on that wheat.
Oh yeah, I've had many people tell me that about European breads.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have a bread that's really you're wearing a shirt about Ireland. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was just barely coincidental.
Right.
I was
So,
trying to pack things that wouldn't wrinkle and I could fit into a carry-on bag.
yeah. So he pointed to the balsamic and said, please, hoping that these dumb Americans would figure it out. And then we kind of like stared at each other, baffled, and then we opened up the bottle. This is an aged, on the right, you'll see an
Yeah.
aged red wine vinegar, and further to the right is the aged balsamic. And I
Oh,
think we went with the aged balsamic. They age their balsamic in oak sometimes, 5-10 years, but we poured that puppy on there, and you could see the facial expression from Chuck
yes.
while he indulges in
Very
his
contented.
Chianti or whatever the heck he was
It
drinking.
was
What
a
were you?
glass of. I had one glass of Chianti.
Was that Chianti?
That was
And
Chianti.
look at that face. Oh my! This was our first day in Rome, and
Oh,
boy, you
every
looked like
bite,
you
every
had
bite was heaven.
you looked like you had tasted the face of God. Is what you were like.
Oh, I was so excited. Well, I was just so excited to be there. We had literally just arrived, checked into our hotel, and we went across the street to that restaurant. So I'd only been in Rome for about, what, 2 hours? So you were seeing that glow, that happiness. I was just so ecstatically happy to be there finally.
Well, my intuition was telling me this is going to be good. This is going to be good. This is going to be great, as they say. And, I usually am pretty good with my intuition.
Really, Whimsy? Are you?
Yeah,
Are you good with your intuition?
I think so. And,
You're only one of the best in the world.
oh my God, you're being very kind. But I
Telling the
think
truth.
the truth is that the food did not stop there. We'll go ahead and mute this.
Oh, the food did not stop. People get to watch me eating.
This is just more of that. Here is the balsamic vinaigrettes. You can see that they will give you a couple different vinaigrettes. And here we are trying the different pasta dishes, and you can see look at all the vinaigrette that I've got poured. When they said go with the vinaigrettes, and look at that salad.
We did go. Yes.
We journeyed onward and upward. That bowl to the left is the salad is now empty because we are now on our second bowl of this stuff. And you just look like you're in a perpetual state of bliss, Chuck.
Perpetual state of bliss. Yes.
Between the mozzarella and the aged olive oil, I don't drink. You can see my Diet Coke is on the right there.
Yeah. I think you saw me very, very happy that entire time.
Yeah.
Every day we were there. Yeah, it was just,
unfortunately, I was sick as a dog. So talk about being jealous. I mean, I was beside myself with jealousy. But I still got a ton of great experiences out of it.
I'm so glad.
The trip to St. Mary's was for me probably one of the most spiritual experiences of my life. And I think that was really when it hit, excuse me, it hit me just how everything is for the glory of God.
Yes.
I didn't think we were going to get in. I didn't think the lines were out of control. This is one of the main sites of worship in Rome. Everyone comes. Miracles are also associated with St. Mary's because there is the nun of perpetual prayer. She is there praying for you 24 hours a day. There are women there who are in a perpetual state of prayer to Mother Mary, and you can just see the lines went around the block. when I saw the lines of people asking for miracles. Oh, look to the right. You can see the nuns of perpetual prayer. We'll take it back over here. To the right here, you can see those nuns over here on the right. Their job is to be in a state of constant prayer.
Yeah. And didn't we learn that this has been going on since the 1800s?
1848, I believe, is what they said.
1848. That's
But
incredible.
I've heard that that was because there was something happened that broke the prayer. It goes much older than that.
Yeah.
How old is St. Mary's?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, so according to what I heard, people have walked again, people that were in wheelchairs. St. Mary's is known for its miracles, but
We could feel it when we were in
Yeah,
there.
I think that for me, I didn't expect to get a miracle. I didn't ask anybody to pray for me. I went in simply as a tourist, but I'll tell you, so many people coming to pray, asking Mother Mary for a healing. And I'll tell you, when
Yes.
I came out of that place, I received some pretty gosh darn great miracles happened for
Yes,
me. I'll tell you that
you
right now.
did. Yes, you did. Well, I think we both did. We were both conscious of it. I am sorry now that I didn't fill out one of the prayer cards, because the nuns, I think you said they take the prayer requests and then they're all uploaded. And then the nuns, we
They're
saw
digitally uploaded. Yes, that's what they
we saw a
told
nun
us.
with an iPhone in her hand.
I
and
thought she was
using it
cheating.
No, she was just scrolling through the prayer requests. And I guess when the next nun came to relieve her after 2 hours, maybe she just handed the phone to her and
That's right.
proceeded.
The phone is continually uploaded. That's
Yeah.
day's prayer. They get through as many as they can. You could see the line, people, of the world. Many people. I'm sorry, there's allergies. I'm having a really severe allergy to whatever's blooming.
sorry.
I've taken some Allegra.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will kick in.
That helped you when we were in London. Your Allegra.
Oh my God,
it
it's
was
so
Wales,
bad.
Your Allegra kicked in very fast.
Yeah,
So
but
hopefully
something
it'll
is
do that.
really my throat is itching so much from the blooming. There's a lot blooming right now, so I do
That was the problem.
apologize.
Yeah.
2,000 years. So okay, thank you. Over 2,000 years. But prayers at St. Mary's have gone on for hundreds and hundreds of years. There was an event, I don't know if it was a flood, a fire, or something, and that is why they quit, and then they had to begin again in 1844. I read a lot about it.
Yeah, I would have looked that up myself.
Yeah, so
And
we
also
did see the nun. We did see her.
We did, yeah.
But we didn't know if it. And I think people were taking pictures of her, if I'm not mistaken.
They were sneaking pictures. I know that photography was strongly dissuaded because it was considered disrespectful.
I didn't feel that it was right to take a picture of her.
Yeah, I didn't feel right to do it either.
I also felt like it was distracting her from her work, which was to get the name, scroll, do the prayer. This person needs a healing for pancreatic cancer, whatever is going on. She has to be in a constant state of focus, and to have people photographing her. And I think there was a sign, no photographs. And I think that it would have, looky-loos. We get to take the photograph of the nun. And I think that it would have just taken away from what she was trying to do.
I would imagine those nuns are used to tourists, though. They encounter this every day, but they're strong enough to just rise above it and stay focused on their purpose. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I agree. I didn't want to take pictures or video either, but we were both very touched by the simple poignancy of it. And
it changed us forever.
I loved what they were doing. Yes, changed us forever. I was going to say, remember on my show a few weeks ago, you were asking me to pull cards for different locations when we couldn't decide where we were going to go. And I pulled this card for Rome, Unconditional Love, and Divine Mother. Below that.
Can you talk a little bit about Joyce Pietris? Because I think she hit the nail on the head. What did she say about Rome?
Well, I was going to say, first of all, the card, the hit I got was Unconditional Love also just means romance. Romance can mean, we think of it as being couples together, but it can be romance of the food,
I think those nuns loved their husband very,
Yeah,
very much.
exactly. The architecture, the history, that's what I was getting about romance. And Joyce Petrus looked at my chart and she said, I was asking her about
I
different
was so
cities.
skeptical, but coming in from Rome, that's all bull crap. I know the mental state
Yes,
that
I
I
heard
was in. Why are we here? I don't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
be here. I don't want. This is your trip, Chuck. I mean, like
Oh, yes.
I was in a
Oh,
spirit.
yes.
I'm feeling sick. I went into a spiritual crisis, and Chuck was like, "Wow, I don't see you like this very often. It's all bullshit, and I don't believe." And then I went to the church and saw the Nun of Perpetual Prayer. Saw all these people praying and asking for a miracle. And I got my miracle, and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, Chuck, we had to be here. We had to experience this together."
That taxi ride from the airport, though, I was like, "Oh dear, what have we done?" But anyway,
but isn't that what happens before a spiritual awakening?
Yes,
is that
exactly.
people will often resist.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the story of the Oracle of Tibet? What happened? The Oracle of Tibet died, and they needed to find his reincarnation, and so they went throughout Dharamsala and throughout Tibet and India at the different temples, trying to find who would be possessed by the Oracle of Tibet, who is the official oracle of the Dalai Lama, that the oracle would choose one of the monks. So the ceremony was to take place at a particular monastery. I think it was somewhere in India, perhaps. And one of the monks was being really hostile. Why do we have to do this? We have to do this because we need to find the oracle. Oh, you think he's really going to show up? Do you think he's really going to show up? You're all and they're like, what the hell is going on with Joe? He is just, I don't believe in this crap. And he's like sitting there, I'm not going to participate. And they were like, well, we have to try and we have to do the ceremony. And the priests are showing up and the oracle is going to possess somebody. And who knows, it might be somebody in our congregation. And so they do the ceremony. And then in the back of the room, I am the oracle. And the very guy that was like, this is all bullshit. They're like, he's here. The oracle is
here. Surprise.
So I felt like that is what happened to me in Rome. Why are we here? You're gonna have some kind of spiritual experience. Because Joyce said it was gonna be. She was just bullshitting. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And I'm sick as a dog. Well, you have a wonderful time in Rome. I'm going back to bed. Screw you. And then I thought,
I'm like.
And he's having all these awakenings. I was in Florence. I tried focaccia. I had gelato. It was the best ever. And I'm like, you're like, I hate you. I hate humanity. And it's like, well, you wanted to go to St. Mary's. It was on your list.
Yeah.
We happened to be within walking
We were
distance.
like 2 blocks away from it, from our hotel.
Now it is a possible 1 hour wait to get in, but if God wants us to get in, 20 minutes.
God wanted us in. We got in within 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then I went and I saw the nun dedicating her life to God, and I'm starting like, I want to dedicate my life to God. It. And then I saw all the beautiful art, and it's like they dedicated everything to God. And then I had my spiritual moment, and then I was like, Chuck, we had to be here. This was so important for both of us.
And I was like, thank you, God. Thank God.
Yeah, and then we had a good cry and ate some good pasta. It was all good.
Yeah, but I said to you, you're making me think of Barbara Streisand and Funny Girl. Would a convent take a Jewish girl?
Yeah, I just love the idea of giving everything to God.
Yeah, but I just want to get back quickly to Joyce because you asked me about that. She looked at my chart. We prospective dates. I would be there, and she said, "Oh, this just shows you having an incredible spiritual journey while you're there. It was predestined in the stars." I just wanted to say that.
Well, today we're going to go ahead and say hi to everybody as people slowly crop in, and my Allegra. I'm going to take another one.
Kicking in? Take another one.
I took one. Do you think I need 2?
Let me test that. does Whimsy need to take?
I don't like to over
Does
medicate.
Whimsy need to take 2? It's giving me a maybe, not a yes, not a no. It's
I'll
more,
hold
it's
off.
your, I think it's at your discretion and your intuition. That's what it's trying to tell me when I'm getting that
Right.
maybe. But anyway, why don't
Yes.
I say hello to some of our
Yes. Say hi to
fabulous
everybody
people
who's
here,
decided to
like my
join us. We're going to talk
our
about
wonderful friend.
healing your mind, and then we'll be offering people free tarot readings for those of you who need to receive a healing today. And of course, we'll be bringing in the empath prayer after that for those people who need us to pray. We are not on the level of the nuns of perpetual prayer, but we do our best here. If you'd like to receive a healing, we're going to be like St. Mary's any day now. That's right.
I think if we, as long as we keep putting our best out into the world, we'll surprise our own selves. But anyway, we have our wonderful friend Gigi Pardo Lord here, Brenda Rakestraw, Joel Tilson, our superb floor director. Hello, Joel. Thank you for being here. Colleen Rager, Tori V. Sun Moon. Jess Miskey. Jess, thank you for the very beautiful email you wrote me the other day. You really touched my heart, and thank you. Moving on here, let's see here. Rockin' Pony Lady. I hope I can pronounce this right. Tennis is Fufanga. Did I say that right? Tennis is Fufanga 1513. If I didn't say it right, please forgive me. Gloria Burgeon. Paula So. Paperback Writer 123.
Hi.
Deb-P9J. Gargatar 1169. And I'm going to get the pronunciation right here. Kaloa SF. Again, if I didn't say that right, please pardon me. Go through some more names here. I like this name. At the Best Predictions. At the Best Predictions.
Oh, that is a nice name.
Yeah. Let's see. Rebecca Coley. Trying to find some other names here so I don't keep repeating myself here. Saying a lot of the same names. Yes.
Well, we'll continue to say hi to everybody as they go along.
Anna Wright, 7434.
Hi. We want to also announce that we have a Book of the Month Club. And of course, if you've written a book, please think about sending your book to us, care of Dr. Whimsy Anderson, 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 116, Portland, Oregon, 97201. And who knows, maybe your book will be selected for our Book of the Month Club. Door in the Sky is about a 13th century witch. And boy, does she talk about France. Nothing has changed when it comes to women's rights. I'm reading this and I'm just disgusted by the abuse that girls and young women are put up with. And it's it's a great read. I really want to talk to her. Unfortunately, she had a previous engagement, so we'll have to wait until next week to interview her. She will be here. Please don't book me after 6. Don't book me after the show for next week, Chuck. Put a pin in that. For Tuesday.
I won't. I worried about overbooking you today, frankly.
Today I was overbooked, but we got through it. We're getting through it. But just to let you know, because we're going to be running late for that. But check out Door in the Sky. Of course, it's always a blessing. It's never a burden to be able to do this work. So I didn't mind.
One of my favorite things. I love doing the. Oh, yes, I know. Yeah. I was concerned about you that maybe it was too much of a day, but when we did our pre-show, you were just glowing. I could see you doing what you love. You're in your purpose.
I'm pretty damn happy. So well. Yeah. Because this is something, and we can go ahead and go into today's conversation, and then we're going to go into blitzing away to make sure we get to everybody's questions. The floor director is here as well to steer us and make sure that we don't go off the guardrails too much. Today's topic is going to be mental health. And I think it was a topic that Chuck and I wanted to cover because we have talked about the fact that a lot of us are concerned about our mental health. And so we thought we would take a moment to just spend about 15 minutes on this subject. If we have to go longer, we can. on the issue of what are you doing to take care of your mental health. Just like you have a
Yeah.
physical body, we have a mental body. We talked a lot the last couple weeks as we've changed up the series on the show about how we can take care of ourselves. We've talked a lot about the physical body, that we
Mhm.
want to be eating more plants, that we want to slow down and not eat as much food, reduce our sodium intake, think about intermittent fasting. We can certainly talk more.
Balance.
Yeah, and we can certainly continue to talk about the physical body and its impact on mental health. But I would say at this point, given everything that's going on in the world, I question my mental health all the time. I certainly have had my own mental health challenges. Just having the political situation be the way it is, people are scared. They're scared that
Yes.
artificial intelligence is going to take their jobs away.
Yeah.
They're scared of chronic disease, of dying. I have an incredible fear of death. I want it over quick. I want to live to be 120 and then boom, I go to sleep and I'm out.
That's the ultimate way to go.
You know,
I don't fear death itself. It's just the idea of having to suffer.
Chronic
before dying.
disease,
Yeah.
you know, and knowing that you are dying and not knowing where you're going to. I was
Yeah.
having an interesting conversation with Chat GPT and with Grok, getting a debate going, and both of them concluded that when you're dead, you're dead. And
Oh,
all of these NDE reports are nothing but hallucinations. That is the
I
conclusion from
disagree.
artificial intelligence is convinced that there's nothing to NDEs and no evidence. But also, artificial intelligence says there's no evidence that there are aliens. According to artificial intelligence,
Well,
there's no evidence that there are hauntings and ghosts. Well, I've experienced hauntings
yeah.
and ghosts, and there was a UFO that used to live, park itself on top of our house
Yeah.
when I
Well,
was a kid.
I'm
So,
thinking of atheists and agnostics saying, well, what evidence do we have that there's God even? You know, it's about faith and it's about our own intuitive beliefs.
but
and
I
what we
think
know
that
and what we
people have
see.
also had spiritual experiences
Exactly.
that they know to be true. And I
Yes.
don't think that we can just dismiss it as when you're dead, you're dead, because
I know
we
better.
now have
Yeah.
certain drugs that can induce alternate worlds. An example would be dimethyltryptophan or DMT, which is the vine of the dead. People are smoking it, and they, according to their experience, we are inside of a matrix. This one guy says that every time he smokes DMT, he sees a computer console. He sees a computer console that is just as physically real
Yeah.
as this computer I'm with. And speaking to other people that have done DMT, they find we are inside of some a computer seems to be generating our current reality.
What do you think that is? Human perception trying to understand a concept that can only be seen in something tangible like a computer?
Well,
That's
they're
why that
saying
image
that
comes to them?
hallucinogens don't work like this. You know, if you're taking
Okay.
something like psilocybin, you'll see some weird beings and you'll see colors, but that's not what this is. This is you open your eyes and you're seeing something sitting there on your desk, which is a computer console. And it's same thing happened to me when I took ayahuasca. I saw this structure that looked like beehive structures that were connected to one another. Prisms. I saw prisms that looked like honeycombs.
Interesting.
And on the sides of the prisms was this writing that looked like a combination between kanji script and Hebrew. And every time I would try, like, is that Hebrew? And it was just these energy. It looked like I was inside of a honeycomb lattice and with Hebrew or kanji script on the side.
Yeah.
And now there was an experiment done with DMT and red laser where they shine a red laser on a wall, and people with DMT were given no information about what they saw. And they were like, what do you see? What do you see? And every single one said, I see some weird writing. It looks like it's kanji or Hebrew and it's in some structure. So this was prior to the data being published. I found myself independently taking ayahuasca and seeing that I was inside of a honeybee comb-like structure that had this writing on the side. And
Yeah.
so I was seeing what other people were seeing at high dose
Yeah.
DMT. And that is what scientists are trying to figure out, because that's not how a hallucination works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
it's
that
also,
everyone is having the same hallucination, and it seems to be suggesting
so
that we are.
everybody is having the same image then.
That is correct. And that
Yeah.
is why we are looking at the possibility that we are inside of a matrix. Well,
Well,
then the question is, who made this matrix,
yeah.
or what made this matrix? It's as if all of us are inside of a computer program, and this life that you and I are experiencing is a lesson. We're in a classroom, and everything is digital, and we are hooked up in this classroom to having this experience, and then we're going to pop out of the matrix, and then the teacher is going to show up, the guide, and say, well, how did you enjoy your trip?
Mm-hmm. I'm
So,
thinking
yeah.
also just the sheer perfection of a beehive. It's one of the most perfect structures in existence, kind of like a geodesic
Really?
dome.
Yes, it was it was that type of a
Yeah, like a
dome
geodesic
that it
dome.
had multiple
You look
sides,
at
the way
how
that and it was.
a beehive is constructed. It is perfect, and how these insects can consistently make these over and over again, these perfect hives. So it's interesting that was the image you saw there. And I was
Yes.
also wondering if maybe we have evolved in our own consciousness here just on Earth in our lifetimes. That's why we now have digital technology, why we have computers, iPhones, things like that. Maybe that is a reflection of what is in the higher consciousness.
I have no idea, but I think that it's, this is what techies like Elon Musk are convinced,
Yeah.
that this
It
entire
feels like
thing is a matrix.
there's a
And
correlation.
that is what's scary. Well, I don't think it's scary, but you have
Yeah.
some of the greatest physicists alive today. I don't know, the guy that does the TV show on science. Do anyone remember his
What are you
name?
thinking of? Bill Nye?
Not Bill Nye. I'm talking
Carl
about the
Sagan?
no, the astrophysicist. He's alive today. He's African American. He has a really nice voice.
I have to think of it.
But he has said that the evidence is pointing towards the fact that we are inside of a matrix. And this goes back to this idea that consciousness doesn't exist in the brain at all, but
Mhm.
rather this entire thing is just a simulation.
Yeah.
And it serves a function. Neil deGrasse has said the same thing. The data points to the fact, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson, that we are in fact inside of a matrix.
That is quite fascinating.
So going back to this idea of a strong mental health, what are the things that are impacting our mental health? The first thing that it has to do with how the brain functions. If you're talking about good mental health, we have to realize that mental health isn't just happening inside the brain. Mental health is happening inside the entire physical body, and it's also having an impact on our spirituality, whether or not we want to pray, chant, how we move through the world. And then we have to go back to this idea of why I always start with the physical body. How much sugar are you consuming?
Right.
How much sleep are you getting? Are you doing your daily mantras? Are you engaging in social media that is having an impact on your mental health? Please go ahead.
And I
Chuck.
think also it's about balance. I think many of us are guilty of just pushing and pushing and pushing, cracking the whip. I can work harder. How much can I cram into my day? It's so important to take periods of rest, even if it's 15 minutes here and there, to sit and be still, to do your breathing, do your meditation, do a little bit of journal writing, read, listen to music, but do things that feed your soul, because that feeds your mind, it feeds your mental health. And I've tried to be a little more conscious of that.
And of course, because I have allergies right now, the first thing associated with grief and depression has to do with the breath. And they find that people who have a will to live breathe deeply. Think about that. People that have a will to live breathe deeply. those
may.
people who feel beaten by life. So go ahead, please.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry, but you just made me think of Louise Hayes. In the back of her book, You Can Heal Your Life, when
Mhm.
she lists cause and effects. And she mentioned something about people who smoke. They have a subconscious need to withdraw from their life. They don't want to be alive. They're slowly killing themselves. When you said that about breathing.
Well, I think there's also cultural. For example, in Georgia, in Eastern Europe, everybody smokes. They dedicate songs to cigarettes. Cigaretta, cigaretta. So you also have to take in that there's a cultural context. If everybody's smoking, it would be weird for you not to be a smoker if everybody in the room is picking up a cigarette and singing cigaretta, cigaretta, how I love my cigaretta. This love
Yeah.
affair with a cigarette. It's the one negative about moving to Georgia or Albania is you have to eat outside because we Americans don't want to be around all that smoke. But be be aware of this idea of breathing. Are you breathing deeply like me with this horrible allergy I've been getting? I sometimes don't breathe. Is your breathing shallow or is your breathing deep? Because one of the first things we think about for a healthy body is that the tissue is getting adequate oxygen and gas exchange. And the same is true for the brain. Do you have anything to say on that,
Well, I
Sean?
was going to say it's for the heart and the brain, because that was something you had me do some research on today. Heart and health brain is very closely related to each other, and they
Mhm.
oxygen. But the brain, I was reading today that it's only 2% of our body weight, but utilizes about 20% of our oxygen supply. The brain constantly needs oxygen.
Yeah. So that's what I'm really working with right now. So in Chinese medicine, the lungs are associated with the emotion of grief. So when we
Interesting.
grieve, right? Or this
Yeah.
idea that if you are in a state of depression, you will have shallow breath. If you're in a panic attack, you may stop breathing, right?
Yes.
Or you
Yes.
may have erratic breathing. And so this is the first thing you can do for your mental health. And it is something we call tricking your brain
Mhm.
into being peaceful.
Mm.
So when you breathe peacefully, you are tricking your brain into believing that all is peaceful.
Mhm.
So, for example, if you're grieving and you're depressed, or your breathing is erratic because you're having panic attacks, the
Mhm.
fastest way to stop that is to stop what you're doing, sit in a chair.
Mm. Yeah.
And hear the ocean.
Yeah.
This
Well, I
idea of listening to the ocean.
yeah, I feel like what you're describing is breathing from the diaphragm. One of the things we learn, any of us who ever taken speech or voice classes, learning to breathe from your diaphragm. That goes a
Mhm.
long way. But I also like that you said that about the ocean, because one of my favorite quick meditations is to breathe in and then breathe out on the count of 10 and imagine an ocean wave just coming in and coming out. That is so soothing. And I have actually lowered my blood pressure. I've gauged it with the cuff on and seen the difference almost immediately when I do that.
Yeah, and it goes back to this idea that what is good for the brain is good for the heart. What is good for the brain is good for the heart. And that the sound of the waves will regulate your breathing. So let's take a
Yes.
moment to just listen to those waves and see how those waves are instructing you this is the breathing of Gaia. This is the breath of the earth. Most oxygen production comes from the sea. We were born of the sea.
Mm.
This is the goddess Yamaya, whose Hebrew name comes. The Hebrew word is Yam for the sea. And in Nigeria, Yamaya is worshipped as a mermaid and goddess of the sea. It's this idea that the primordial mother is the sea, and we are literally watching her breathing.
Mm. Love that.
So this is why people are attracted to the sea. This
Mhm.
is why people go to the sea. And this is why the sound of the oceans is going to help you with your breathing, and it's going to help you with your moon as you sync up with you start breathing with the mother.
Especially for a Cancer
You're
like myself.
breathing, yes.
Very
And
drawn to the ocean. But I
right.
loved how you touched upon the ocean is where we came from, its
Mhm.
source. And I never put that connection together of why the ocean sound is so soothing to us.
And if I
So
buy
thank you
a
for
condo
doing
in
that.
Batumi, I hope you'll come stay with me in
Oh,
Georgia.
I will.
I will be on the ocean.
You didn't tell me you'd be right on the ocean.
Yeah, so I could get a place in Astoria for like 500,000 or 50,000 in Batumi. Which one do you think I'm gonna do?
Well,
Look, if
I have an
if so,
idea.
if I get a call from Mohammed bin Salman saying, "I want to thank you for your contribution to this $350 billion trade route and the Abraham Accords.
Yeah.
We've decided to do the right thing and pay you for your research," like that will never happen probably, but if it did, I would be able to just stay here in the United States, and that's where I would buy. I think I would buy in Astoria because what a glorious place Astoria, Oregon is, to just look down at that
Mhm.
beautiful Columbia River as it bleeds into the Pacific Northwest and
Mhm.
hear those amazing waves. I also love Newport, Oregon for that reason. But
Sure.
if you can't physically get to the sea, this is one way. The great thing about being at the sea is that oxygen levels are higher at the sea. Remember, this is where Gaia breathes. And this is also why it's so important for us to take care of the ocean because these are her lungs. This is her taking in and expelling the bad, bringing in the CO2 and releasing the oxygen
Mhm.
that's being produced by the sea. So, the first thing we talk about is if you want to overcome depression, take control of your breathing, listen to the sound of the ocean, maybe spend some time around the ocean, and it will go far in terms of. Thank you, MBS. MBS is look. It is what it is. I've released it to the universe. I served a function, and that I've completed my mission on Earth regarding all of that. But getting back to this idea of just knowing that your breathing and checking in on how you breathing is having an impact on your mental health, and that grief is associated with the lungs in Chinese medicine. Anything else you want to add to that, Chuck?
I had never heard that about Chinese medicine, the lungs being associated with grief. But it makes sense, since it's so connected to life itself and constantly taking in and releasing. So that's intriguing to
Mhm.
me. But yeah, Whimsy, what do you feel about people who tend to hyperventilate? Like, we talk about balance. The people who breathe too much. Sometimes when people get stressed or anxious, they're doing that. And
Right.
what are your own feelings about that?
So it goes back to this idea of the relationship between the lungs and the heart and grief and the heart, right? This idea of we're going to go ahead and post if people want to read these articles, but this is The Seven Emotions, Lungs, Grief, and Sadness by Zen Shiatsu and Well-Being. If you'd like to find out more about the importance of breathing, grief, and sadness, and the impact on the lungs, right? So, Wei Qi is the ability and the corporal soul. It's a beautiful article, and I think that a burnout, etc., and then they go into the meridian points, and I think that will be very helpful. What was your question, Chuck?
Oh, I didn't have a question. Oh, my question was because we've talked about the importance of balance. Can you go the other extreme where you're breathing too much? I'm thinking of a person
Yeah.
who hyperventilates easily. People get stressed. Sometimes when I stressed,
Right.
I tend
So
to do that too much.
right.
And I have to
So
catch
this is
myself.
why we want you to trick your brain into believing that everything is okay. So if you
Yeah,
find yourself doing that, and
that would be sending a
I
message of
become like,
panic.
I become like
Yeah,
that, right? Because I
yeah.
was coming down with a flu. I didn't realize I was coming down with the flu. I was in a bad mood when I got to Rome, and then
Mhm.
I had an enlightenment. I had a spiritual.
Yeah.
I ended up having this profound spiritual experience when I was there. So when we talk about trick your brain into believing that everything is okay, when you find yourself hyperventilating, a number of things happen. Number one, you're not getting adequate oxygen. And then what's going to happen to your heart rate?
Well, it's going to increase your heart rate.
That's correct, because your heart is desperately trying to get more oxygen. So we
And
now,
I know it raises blood pressure.
right.
Yeah.
So you also have vasoconstriction of the arterial walls, and that's happening because they're trying to increase pressure to get the oxygen to the tissue. So we have rapid heartbeat, rapid breathing, which is ineffectual breathing.
Mhm.
So because it's so rapid, you're not giving time for the oxygen exchange to take place in the lungs. And
Yeah.
so how are you going to deal with that? By tricking your brain into believing that everything is going to be okay. And that's
Yeah.
what we want to encourage.
Well, I once had a spiritual teacher call me on that, saying when you breathe too rapidly, it's a form of numbing yourself so you can't really feel what's actually going on within yourself. Yeah, we talked the importance of being quiet, being still, being calm, being grounded. And when you're in that state, you're anything but grounded.
Yeah. So put on those ocean waves and start tricking your brain into believing that everything is okay. And that stops the hyperventilating, right?
Yeah.
So by controlling your breathing, doing deep breathing, calm breathing, ocean wave breathing, you will come out of the panic attack, because the slow breathing is then connecting to your brain and telling your brain, well, she's slow breathing, so everything must be fine.
Yeah.
So that's the importance of the deep breathing in terms of its impact on your physical health and your mental health. All right, moving on to this idea of feeding the brain. Number one, we want oxygen. And the other is we want to make sure that your hormone levels are appropriate. Checking your hormones.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that happens as we age is we see a decline in testosterone and estrogen.
Mhm.
If you came back estrogen dominant, it still means you have low estrogen. It just means that your estrogen is dominating your progesterone, because progesterone is up here when we're in our ovulatory phase of life, from a girl age 12 to 50, but once we hit about 35, 40, we start to see that slow decline of the progesterone. But understand that if your estrogen is up here and your progesterone is up here, you hit 35, we start to see this happening.
Mhm.
So now what has happened? You're estrogen dominant, but do you have the same estrogen you had at 25? No, your estrogen is low and your progesterone is even lower. So a lot of people get confused. They don't understand that when we say that we are estrogen dominant, both levels have dropped. It's just that you no longer are having a luteal phase, which is necessary for the growth of the embryo.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, your body no longer produces progesterone.
Well, Whimsy, how do you feel about the notion that hormones work like an orchestra and that harmony is more important than the actual volume? It's just about the balance, the harmony. Do you find that's what you strive for when you are prescribing for people?
Absolutely. And we know that DHEA, which is a precursor hormone that's produced by the adrenal glands. Remember, when we talk about the adrenal glands, those glands that sit on top of your renals, on top of your kidneys, are known as adrenals, above the renals, above the kidneys, if you're looking at the Greek, the Latin. So we think about sexy, salty, sweet, right? Sexy, salty, sweet. Those are the hormones that we think about. So when we think about sexy, we're thinking about DHEA. Its backbone is cholesterol. When your body is no longer producing these sex hormones, your cholesterol may be rising because the cholesterol is no longer going to make sex hormones. Instead, it's just sitting in the liver, producing too much. The liver makes the cholesterol, then the cholesterol is carried to the adrenals where it's converted to the sex hormone DHEA. And DHEA is the precursor hormone that is used by the ovaries in order to make estrogen.
Yeah. And of course, DHEA is so important for mood, energy, mental clarity, stress resilience, and in balancing your hormones.
That's correct. And
Yeah.
so, for that reason, we're talking about somebody who has Alzheimer's or is at risk for dementia, cognitive decline.
Yeah.
One of the things we've noticed when we look at serum DHEA is that it's low in people who are developing Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Well, they also find it's some of the earliest signs are fatigue, depression, and not even handling stress as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So talk to
definitely
your
cognitive decline.
talk to your doctor to find out if DHEA is right for you.
Mhm.
It can be purchased over the counter.
Over the counter.
I prefer Pure Encapsulations. That's the company I tend to go with. With men, we usually give about 25 milligrams of DHEA a day. Women, anywhere from 10 to 15 milligrams of DHEA. Women may also want to do a topical cream estrogen. We start usually at the lowest dose of the cream, um, and we usually do a
Like wild yam.
yeah,
Yeah.
E3 E2 ratio is going to be 80-20, or if your doctor feels it's right for you, you may go to 50-50.
I was just going to say, we used to sell 25 and 50 milligrams commonly where we worked. But I always erred on the side of caution, and I would start people off with 25.
Of the
DHEA.
DHEA. Yeah. So I take 25 milligrams of DHEA daily. I'm 63 years old.
Yeah.
I'm very concerned about my cognitive decline. So I'm focusing on my breathing, and I am taking 25 milligrams of that pure encapsulation DHEA a day. Other vitamins that tend to be low in cognitive decline is vitamin D. And vitamin D is also considered the sun vitamin or the sunny vitamin. It brings the sun out, and we tend to find when people go out and get a little bit of sun, they're less depressed. And it could be partially because of the benefits of vitamin D.
Yeah. I've heard as little as 10 minutes a day of direct sunshine can be enough to produce enough vitamin D. But they certainly find in regions of the world, like say Scandinavia, where they have 6 months of darkness, there's a lot of chronic depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, suicide. And it's often believed it's because of lack of sunshine.
Yeah, very, very good. So things to do for the brain. We talked about breathing. We've talked about DHEA supplementation. We've talked about vitamin D. And one more supplement for vitamin D, of course, is omega-3s. And particularly, we are interested in the DHA component. Salmon is rich in DHA. EPA is a strong anti-inflammatory. DHA is the building blocks for gray matter. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that, PA Chuck?
You mean
he's a physician's assistant, so you can ask him anything.
I try to let you talk, but omega-3s, how would you like me to talk about omega-3s?
Please talk about the benefits of omega-3s to overall health, heart health, and brain health, and the correlation.
Well, there's certainly omega-3s support memory, learning ability, mood stability, wonderful anti-inflammatory properties, and also help support communication between the brain cells.
Very good.
Neurotransmitters, and I find when people are low in omega-3, commonly there's depression, brain fog, poor concentration, obviously increased inflammation, and even higher cardiovascular risk.
See, he does it all. He's a PA, and he does this too. It's pretty good. Wow. And Joel jumped the gun on us. Thank you for that, Joel. The next thing we want to, that's okay though, because we had to do that next. We want to talk a little bit about vitamin D, vitamin B, 12, but all of the vitamins, including the B6 and the B5. I know that this was on Chuck's final. When he had to go before the board. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of B complexes in brain health?
B complex certainly helps us helps us just with anxiety and stress. That in itself is important. Supports the adrenals.
Yeah.
I mean, God, where do we go with that?
Well,
You
I mean,
want to stick this to brain function, right?
neurotransmitters, right?
Neurotransmitters are
Yeah.
important.
So
Nerve health.
remember when we were running scans on people looking for deficiencies,
Yeah.
and we found that people were depressed, pantothenic acid, B5,
Yes.
B6, and B12,
Well,
and
pantothenic
so
acid for the adrenals. So
right, and so the report would come back more tryptophan, and that's because when you're talking about monoamines. We're talking about neurotransmitters that only contain one amino acid. And the two amino acids that we're most interested in are the amino acids that create catecholamines and the amino acids that make serotonin. And so the amino acid that makes serotonin, your good mood, is tryptophan.
Mm-hmm.
And when we think about foods that are rich in tryptophan,
bananas, milk.
Yeah, very good. Turkey.
Turkey.
So this is something that Chuck and I would do. People would come in and they'd be depressed, and then their B5 would be tanked, their B6, their B12. Yes. And one of the things that the B complexes do is that they are cofactors that help the body make neurotransmitters. And so the patient would come in. I remember one patient, she came in sobbing. I don't know if you remember that woman. She's like, I can't.
That sounds like any number of patients.
And she had been drinking a lot. And that's another thing that will deplete your Bs is alcohol.
Yes. Well, they're water.
Don't you remember this patient? Anyway, she had the worst.
You can't store your B vitamins. They're water soluble.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So she just was in a really bad shape. She was wearing a hat. She was like funky, and she'd been drinking and doing God knows what. And she came in and she was a mental wreck. And the diet she was placed on was cottage cheese and turkey. Remember this? And then we had to give her B complexes. And she came in. She was functioning. She was semi-functional within 72 hours. I think her omegas were tanked as well. But what people need to understand is that what's going on with you emotionally, Chuck and I can see it. Mm-hmm. We can scan you. We can run labs. Chuck and I ran a lot of labs, and we were working together for a while on this, and we knew. Just by looking at those labs, this person's going to have a breakdown, or this person is going to get themselves really sick if they can't get their nutrients up. But I remember her tryptophan was completely tanked. I think her tyrosine was also. She had no B complexes in her system. Yeah. Her omega-3s were tanked. There's no way that person can be happy. And again, it goes back to increased risk for Alzheimer's. We see the B12 complexes are extremely low in those people who suffer from chronic depression and are at higher Alzheimer's risk. And it has to do with the fact that serotonin, there's two major areas where serotonin is produced. Do you know the two locations? Do you remember this from your boards?
In the gut and in the brain.
Oh my God, his memory is so good. I didn't know if you were going to remember that. I'm sorry, I have trouble spelling that. That's not how you spell serotonin, but serotonin, the neurotransmitter, their building block, the amino acid is tryptophan. That's why we put you on turkey and cottage cheese, like the woman that was really upset that day. Boy, she was just a mess. Mm-hmm. And not that we judge, because we've all been, I've been that woman. We don't judge at all, but it's like, we just was like, we really want to help her. And I'm so grateful that what is going on nutritionally with her brain. And so we gave her tryptophan, we gave her B complexes, and we also gave her omega. And the tryptophan and the B complexes work together with one mineral, and that mineral is magnesium. And so in order for your brain to make a neurotransmitter, in order for your digestive tract to make a neurotransmitter, it needs a couple things. It needs an amino acid. It needs a B vitamin, B complexes. B5, B6, and B12 work differently at different phases in the creation of a neurotransmitter. And your brain also needs a mineral, usually magnesium.
And don't you find that a lot of people are deficient in magnesium? We certainly were.
Yeah, like that woman. I mean, like That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You and I could see her mental challenges.
Oh, it was
in,
you know,
in
like I
a
said, it's like
lab,
putting
in a
yeah,
lab on a petri dish. We
yeah,
if she had never walked in and she had no detectable, her tryptophan was critical, her B complexes were critical, her omegas were critical, her magnesium was critical.
yeah.
Did we really need to see her physically to know where she was going to
No,
be
no, we didn't.
mentally?
You could look at a printout report and put a whole
Right,
story on
right.
it. Like I said, it's
So,
like putting pieces of a puzzle together. But in
and
that case, it's giving you a snapshot. What we were
I
doing with the
also
hair test,
want
it
to
gives a snapshot of
empower.
what's going on.
Yeah, because if
Yeah,
she's going on a 3-day bender because she broke up with her boyfriend, which is how this nightmare got started, then
yeah,
she's not eating right. So what's happening to her tryptophan levels? What's
yeah.
happening to her B complex levels because she's
Mhm.
drinking alcohol? So falling
Exactly.
apart and engage, it's only going to make things worse and snowball.
Well, also
Cut the
her
crazy, get
blood
yourself
sugar
some.
is probably all over the place too.
Yeah, I
If
think
her drinking
so.
is accelerated.
I think
Yeah,
bananas, a lot of the time when your blood sugar's crazy, it will say no bananas, and that's why it would come up like that.
yeah. I
Like
mean, I
no dates. It's usually because the computer detected something that looks wonky with the sugars.
yeah.
Crazy. The
I have
other
watched people personally just wig out when their blood sugar gets really, really low, or it's
Mhm.
off kilter, or it's fluctuating all over the place. And if certainly for a person who's drinking, that's often what's happening.
Yeah, I'm so
Drinking
glad we could.
alcohol.
I'm
Yeah.
so grateful we could help her. You know who she reminded me of? She
Yeah.
reminded me of, you'll remember this patient. She reminded me of the lead singer from Fleetwood Mac.
Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, she had the hat and the whole this, and she was kind of,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm sort of remembering her.
grooving. And she had like that thing and she had that bag and she was just like, I'm a mess. I'm a mess.
Mhm.
And yeah, we worked with her for a while. But
Did you?
the other amino acid we want you to be aware of is tyrosine.
Tyrosine.
And tyrosine, of course, is the amino acid that works with the B vitamins, B5 pantothenic
Mhm.
acid, peroxidine, B6, the B complexes, and magnesium. And that monoamine, do you know the name of that monoamine, Shaki Poo?
I don't. I'm blanking out on that one.
That I know was on your boards.
I okay.
But don't worry, you'll remember once I show it to you.
Tell me.
That is the catecholamine pathway. And
Mhm.
this was hammered over and over again. And again, I apologize. I cannot spell. I always mess up with my vowels, but that's the catecholamine pathway. And that is the adrenals.
Mhm.
And the first thing that we get from the tyrosine is epinephrine.
Mhm. You know, I remember once I had a client come in. He was with a clinic. They were helping people with cocaine withdrawal,
Mhm.
and he bought like 12 bottles of tyrosine as one of the nutrients to give to people to help them.
Mhm. Yeah, and that requires a methyl donor. Tyrosine requires a methyl donor, and that is why we do methylcobalamin, because to go epinephrine has one methyl group and
Mhm.
norepinephrine has 2 methyl groups. And so this is the pathway. Chuck will remember. It was
Oh, I remember.
he took his boards like 10-15 years ago. But so the pathway is you go from tyrosine to epinephrine, from epinephrine to norepinephrine, from norepinephrine to dopamine.
Mhm.
So when your tyrosine tanks, your B vitamins tank, your catecholamines tank, and that's the point when a patient says, "I have no, I have no energy, I have no adrenal support,"
Mhm.
and that is why we give B vitamins. So and get you on increasing your protein. So particularly focusing on tyrosine, which is again is found in high amounts in turkey and cottage cheese.
Yeah.
And there are vegan sources as well, and that would be the levodopa or the L-dopa.
Mhm.
You can get it in plant form if you are a vegan, and that is available through different companies,
Mhm.
through the mucuna. The herb is the mucuna plant or the velvet bean, also
Mhm.
known as the
Delta.
mucuna
I've heard it
Yeah,
called the dopa bean.
L-DOPA. So
Yeah.
when a person has Parkinson's from doing too much cocaine, which will kill the brain cells that
Mhm.
make dopamine,
Mhm.
we have brain cells that make dopamine. So what happens when people do a lot of cocaine is they end up feeling great because their dopamine goes through the roof, but
Mhm.
eventually their
And it
dopamine
cracks.
tanks and
Yeah.
can and I think that people like Robin Williams, he was very honest about his drug problem.
He was.
He had jokes about how much cocaine he did. You know, what do you like? Well, what do you got? You know, like I'll do it all.
I remember he once said, "Cocaine. If you can buy cocaine, that's God's way of saying you're making too much money."
Right.
He said
So
that.
he just simply did too much cocaine, and that is, you know, I did a lot of cocaine. I did a lot of
It's very
cocaine, and
frank
so
man.
he was one of those people that unfortunately. He had no dopamine producing cells. Another one made a movie about he made a movie about his cocaine addiction. That was Michael J. Fox.
I
Did you
didn't know
see the movie?
I did not see that. I didn't know he made a movie about it.
Yeah. It was interesting because he has a complete meltdown in the movie. Michael J. Fox
Mhm.
movie about cocaine addiction, where this was right around the time that he got into rehab. And you know what, the amazing thing about it was that he didn't just heal his life from being a cocaine addict.
Yeah.
He tried to help so many other people
Mhm.
that were struggling with the same addiction. You know,
Life is a series of choices. What you eat, how you look, whether you do drugs or not. You know, cocaine, crack. Only you can decide because the only person responsible is you. Now, if you make the right choice, there's nothing you can't accomplish. If you make the wrong choice, all your other decisions are made for you.
So what happened here was this was another case, just like Robin Williams, where
Yeah.
he unfortunately did so much that it was quite deleterious and wound up with the same medical condition as Robin Williams.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox, Parkinson's disease. I admire him. He still puts himself out in front of the world. He still appears on talk shows, but he's in very bad shape right now.
Yeah, and I just really respect him for being courageous about his
It's very
rehab
courageous what he
and
does.
everything that he's done. This is what happened to my body. This is the challenge I had with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
This is the consequences, and now I'm trying to, you know, heal my body, heal my life. And I think it takes great courage.
It does.
You know, he went to Bhutan and he had no problems with Parkinson's. He wasn't planning on moving to Bhutan anytime soon, but he made a note of that. And I think it goes back to this idea of being calm and peaceful is one of the best things you can do for your dopamine levels.
Right.
But, excuse me, those are the supplements and nutrition. Exercise will raise serotonin. It will increase your oxygen to help with lung health and brain health. So we always want
Sleep.
Yeah, sleep is very important.
Yeah.
And did we miss anything, Chuck?
Well,
Loving relationships. Turn off the negative stuff on.
turn off the internet. You know, we spend way too
Except
much
for the
time.
Oracle of Whimsy.
Yes, thank you. But it's even been suggested that we shouldn't even be looking at our phones or the internet at least 2 hours before going to sleep at night. I don't know if there are many of us who adhere to that rule, but it probably would go a long way. I just wanted to throw out real
Read
quickly.
this instead.
Yeah, reading is very good for the soul. But I just want to say quickly, while we were still talking about the B vitamins, B12, I think, isn't it something like 25% of the population cannot metabolize B12 and they need a methylized version of it.
Right, and this goes back to what we had said, that
a sublingual methylized
to make epinephrine and norepinephrine requires a methyl donor. And that's why you take the methylcobalamin, because it acts as a methyl donor for making epinephrine and norepinephrine. And dopamine is made from norepinephrine. So that's the conversion. So first you start with tyrosine. Tyrosine's cofactors are the B vitamins, but particularly the methylcobalamin and then it's paired with magnesium, and then it converts to epinephrine. Then the epinephrine with an additional methyl donor will convert to norepinephrine, and then with the assistance of magnesium and the other B vitamins will then convert to dopamine. And the two parts of the body, there's multiple parts of the body that make dopamine, but what are the two main parts of the body that make dopamine?
The gut and the brain.
Very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So important for digestive health and also important for brain health. So those are our tips today on this conversation. Of course, we'll have many more in the coming days about things that you can do to improve your brain health. We're going to go ahead now, as long as I don't inhale a cat hair, and bring in the empath prayer.
Yes.
If we didn't see your questions before, if you need to have personal readings, we'll spend about 30 minutes going ahead and giving everyone personal readings. These are mini readings. Of course, if you need to see Chuck as a medical consultant or as a tarot card reader, medical empath.
How's that for a combination?
Well, you're a medical intuitive. I mean, you're also licensed. I mean, people trust you. Then you can contact Chuck through Chuck at
Dransfieldchuck@gmail.com.
Thank you. Or you can book with me. I am a naturopathic doctor, and we will do our best to help you. Go ahead and give us your name or the name, excuse me, of the person you would like us to pray for, and we will include them in our prayers today as we bring in the empath prayer. And then after that, we will try and get through to everyone's questions. If you are concerned about something that's going on in your life and you're like, hey, Whimsy and Chuck, I really need your help. Can you give me a mini reading? And we'll do our best. We'll be here for another 20, 30 minutes, I think. Is that all right with you, Chuck?
It's okay with me.
You're okay with your...
I'm more than okay with it. I love doing this.
All right.
Yeah. I think you have a patient or a client after the show, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so we have to adhere to that. All right, let's get going.
We covered a lot today. Yeah. All right. So without further ado, for those people who are wishing a healing at this time, we'll go ahead and we will bring in the empath prayer.
Okay, let's get going.
Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen.
Amen.
For those people who are requesting healings today, we come together at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. All right, so I'm going to try and go to the top and see if we missed any questions, personal readings that people had. Sure. I know people have been very, very patient with us because we went off on a tangent about Rome, and they're like, "Hey, you guys, get back to the subject." Well, we just can't help ourselves. We just had so much gosh darn fun on our trip, and it's kind of like that Beatles song. We had such a lovely time. We'd like to take you home with us. We'd like to take you home. Yes, we wanted you all to come with us, but alas. We did not make it. Yes. Yeah. All right. First question, Shucky Poo.
From Gargator, 1169. Where should I go to live? And when and how? That's a multi-part question. Where should I go to live?
Where should I go to live and when and how? Oh,
Yeah, that's a multi-part question.
you
there.
know, we would have to do an astrocartography and find out about what you're really attracted to. You know,
Well,
there's a,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to say, because I thought the same thing. How can we say specifically? But maybe what we can do is find the essence of where she should go to live, like what the properties are. What do you think, Whimsy?
well, let's see what the cards say. Where
Yeah.
should Gargasha live? Where love finds you. So, when deciding where to live, think about whether or not you're going to be isolated or whether or not you're going to be able to create a home, a family, and love. So, talking about home and family and hearth, go where the love is.
Mm.
Go where you can build a community. Your house of opposition, the star. So it just feels to me like this is somebody that needs to be around a loving community, which
Yeah.
is why a lot of the time people are thinking about going to smaller towns. Take it slow. It's a very serious decision. But the advice here is look at the various different places you're looking at and think about which place is going to be the most loving and the most emotionally supportive. And they say that you're probably by the end of the summer, you're probably going to be clear about what you want to do because ending's happening by the end of the summer.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting. You see me sometimes get a little excited when you're talking because I got the unconditional love card. Follow, as you said, go follow your love, go where the love is. In regards to a new life, wherever you go, it has to be where you're in a state of appreciation. And you're going to know that when you go there to visit. You may have to check out different places, but be on the lookout for what is it that you really appreciate that brings out that sense of appreciation in yourself. And then this is one I had a little trouble understanding. I got the compromise card, and I think what that means is you may not find a place that's going to meet everything on your list. We often have to compromise, whether it's a relationship, a place we're going to move to. It's never going to be perfect. So you may have to find you're going to have to compromise on a few things there. But I think ultimately unconditional love and appreciation, those are very good signs for your new life. But that was the biggest thing. You may have to compromise a little.
So, Chuck, when you go into this idea, I know that you are seriously looking at, your destiny may not even be in the United States. Can you
Be.
talk? Can you talk a little bit about what is informing your decisions? Because maybe that can help other people that are going through this.
Well, I just know that I was irresistibly drawn to going to Italy again. I hadn't been there in 37 years. And when you and I were discussing places to go, I was like, I wanted to make you happy. You wanted to make me happy. But the truth was, and you knew it quite well, I wanted to go to Italy. And I couldn't entirely understand it other than it was an irresistible draw. I knew that there was a spiritual connection. As soon as I was there, I felt this when I was in Venice many years ago. I felt it strongly in Rome and Florence. I've had lifetimes there. I've had lifetimes as an artist several times over. I just knew that. I knew it. I've been so inspired to get back into my art ever since I came home. I can't get Rome out of my mind. It's just like I left part of my soul back there. I feel like I have such a connection with it. So those are things I feel intuitively, but it's a sense overall, I love the people. I felt wonderful connection to the land and just a sense that might be where I'd be living my final years, whenever that's going to be. I don't think I would make a quick decision. I would want to explore more, research more, maybe go back a few more times to be certain. But I'm being irresistibly magnetically drawn in that direction right now. Does that answer the question? I don't know.
I think it does. I mean, for me, I had to go into really what was, I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want hot weather. When I was working with artificial intelligence to try and figure out where I wanted to live. And I said, pick a place that is going to be great for somebody who, say, is only earning $1,500 a month. Think in terms of what your Social Security is going to be in case something happens to you. So
right.
I was starting with a budget of $1,500 a month. It's a place that has to have cool weather. I would love to be at the ocean. I don't want a high altitude. I don't like humidity.
Yeah.
I want a diet that's fish and walnuts and, uh,
Mm-hmm.
so the computer looked at Portugal, it looked at Mexico, it looked at um, all these countries in the world, and it said the best place for you in the world is Batum, Georgia. And I just about fell off my chair because I had been feeling like, go to Georgia, go to Georgia. You must go to
Uh-huh.
Georgia. Georgia is where you belong. And he and I were like vacationing in Cardiff,
Mm-hmm.
and
I was just about to mention it.
we found a Georgian restaurant, and it was like, come inside and eat this food. And I have to tell you, it was the most delicious food I'd ever eaten in my entire life.
Mm-hmm. It was so good. There was food left over. And my great regret was I didn't have a refrigerator in my room to take it back. I hated to leave a lot of those leftovers. And you couldn't take
Yeah.
them either, but we were stuffed, and there was a way to have eaten more, we would have.
Stuffed and ready to go, as they say. Yes.
Stuffed to the gills.
Yes.
We were waddling back to the hotel.
Yes. We ate a lot. We ate a lot. We had a large salad with a walnut puree dressing, which was absolutely incredible. And the vegetables were very fresh. And then we had
Very fresh. I was
had
impressed with that.
we had a grilled chicken kebab with French fries. And then we
Or are we admitting that maybe we strayed a little bit from a healthy diet? No, we ate.
right.
We did.
No, I think it was overall it was fine.
I think so too.
And
It's about being happy. It's moderation.
then we had the cheese boat bread, the cheese boat bread,
Yes.
which has a cracked egg in it and a pound of
Yes.
butter.
And we had some left over, and I wanted to take that back.
It was
And
just like,
I did take some of it back, but there was no way to refrigerate it, and I just was afraid to eat it the next morning.
yeah. Okay, Rebecca Colley, 135 question: what's the purpose of estrogen blockers, letrozole in post-breast lumpectomy? It depends on whether or not the person has estrogen positive cancer, which means we want to know what's causing the cancer to grow. Why is the cancer growing? If it's estrogen positive, then that tells us, the doctor, this particular cancer that's growing responds to estrogen. So estrogen is acting as a growth hormone for that particular cancer. And so for that reason, estrogen has to be blocked so that particular cancer won't grow. So that is the answer to that. But it also is going to put you risk of osteopenia and osteoporosis because estrogen is important for bone health. So we don't give estrogen usually to people who are positive for estrogen, and we pull plastic. We remove cooking plastic. I know that you and I have talked about that.
We have. That's a growing problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like they found men have low sperm counts, low testosterone because of a lot of plastic exposure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
At the best predictions, like your name, this man stole my 2-year research project and source with the museum, covering it up. I wrote to the indigenous director. She ignored me, and I can't afford a lawyer. How to fight? Feel so little, ill. And Whimsy, are you there? Oh, okay, you're back.
I was just playing with something and I knocked something out.
Okay,
Sorry
did you get the question there also? Did we need to repeat that for you?
Yeah. Can you?
Well, this is certainly something we both can relate to. I mean, you've certainly talked about your situation. I won't go into it all here. It's much too much. But I had a screenplay I wrote get stolen. I won't go further into it, but someone rather famous got a hold of it because I showed it to the wrong people at Disney, and it got leaked. And needless to say, they took credit for something that was my idea.
And they made a crappy movie. I mean, it was not as good as the movie that you wrote. But that's
what I had was much better. But that's a whole other show. That's a whole other story. We can
I mean,
I just want to say that
I would not be a victim. I am fearless. And so if somebody stole something of mine, I would take legal action, and I would start with if the person that if the director is not taking it seriously, I would document everything and I would go to their boss and I would prepare the boss and human resources. I will be taking legal action if this isn't dealt with.
Mhm.
And then I would I would contact legal aid in your area, legal aid, and see if legal aid cannot help you with this case. But let's see how this ends.
Yeah.
But I would try and resolve it with human resources. I would also file a complaint about your boss's refusal and cover up. And I would, if they ignore it, I would go to the boss of the boss.
Whimsy, because this is a multifaceted question, what should we focus on for our reading when you say we're looking for an outcome?
How to fight.
How to fight. Okay.
I feel so little. She's ill, and take it very slow and methodical. And have you confronted this person directly? Because no karma can come from this. Look at this young, angry, aggressive male. This is a male who takes what he wants. Like he wants the woman, he takes her, he screws her. It's that kind of Knight of Wands, going to take it, baby. She is slow and steady and wins the race. And the Knight of Wands, I would also look at this. She's feeling completely pushed into a hole here. But I would look also, you're going to court. I would go to legal aid because they're saying that you have a case and this is going to result in a lawsuit.
Yeah. It was so interesting. I'm so sorry. Are you still reading, Whimsy? I don't want to interrupt.
Well, I mean, I can do a clarification here, but they're saying that this is, you have to let them know that this is not good and that you will be suing them. If this goes forward, you are getting a lawyer and you will be suing. And I would CC the boss of the director that you will be looking at legal action if this goes through. Her final outcome, though, is justice, and she's going to get financial compensation. So she should go through legal aid.
That sounds like a great suggestion. What I got, first of all, whenever I get the exhaustion card, that is somebody who is just worn out, physically, mentally, emotionally. I always feel a lot of stress whenever I get this card. So I want to just say, first of all, for things that we've talked about earlier, please take care of yourself right now. Take care of your health. You're obviously going through a lot. This has obviously been a big shadow over you. But as Whimsy elaborated beautifully, it's very much about sticking to your priorities, sticking to your business. Now, the final card I got is some sort of compromise is going to be reached. It may not be entirely what you want.
I don't want that for her.
I know. I want the victory too. I want that too. But I'm just being honest. This was the final card I got. But you see two people shaking hands, reaching an agreement. So it might be both sides. There might have to be some compromise here. It may not be everything you want, but I see you prevailing.
Under my thumb.
Yeah.
A girl.
Yeah. And I like what Whimsy said. You just flat out saw a victory. But I saw that there may be compromising.
The point is that this guy's attitude, I don't have to respect you. You got a vagina. Like that attitude, which has gone, you wrote the rebuild of Gaza. Who cares? You get this idiot out of here. We're going to take it and we're going to do it better. Like that's just the way this game is played, baby. And I think that I would get legal advice, but I think you're probably going to be taking legal action just because the courts come in, justice comes in, and she also had the Ace of Pentacles, which is financial compensation. Yeah. Which university is overseeing your PhD? Who's overseeing your committee? Women, this happens to women. It happened to me, right? I didn't get stolen. I gave it to people, but I thought I was not going to be phased out of my own research. I got completely shut out of my own research. Sure.
Sure.
Donald Trump did not invite me to any of the meetings, right? It was all a bunch of boys, and they patted themselves on the back. It's just the way this game is played, girl, right? So I think you just have to look at legal action. That looks like that's what's going to
Yeah, I
probably
think
happen.
it looks good. I want to emphasize, just because I got compromised card, that doesn't mean it's not going to be a good compromise.
Well, I think compromise means that they don't want to be sued, and so they're going to have to
Maybe out
agree
of
to
court.
something.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good.
I like the fact that it showed the two hands shaking.
Yeah.
Right? Something's going
What
to
a
reach.
creep. I'm so tired of men pulling that crap.
I am too. I hope I'm saying your name right. At Kaloa SF, is that right? Will I be moving back to the coast soon and get the narcissistic, toxic family members off my back? We got a lot of people want to move. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, get these narcissists off your back, man. Who needs this crap? Back to the flow that I love. Okay, where is she gonna get narcissist? A new beginning awaits you. Are you waiting till spring to do this? Because Archangel Uriel often comes in the spring. Get a plan together. You don't have to. There's her desire to get out of there. You don't have to listen to us. You just have to get a plan and leave. Yeah, she's out of there. Oh, you're headed to the southwest. Is that right? When you say the coast, have you looked at Mexico? Mexico might be good for you.
Very inexpensive to live there.
Yeah, but they've raised the price. Now you have to earn $4,400 a month to qualify.
I didn't know that. When did they do that?
Recently.
Oh, I guess too many people moving down there, maybe.
Yeah, so they're pushing out Americans. So people are moving to Guatemala instead, or Colombia, or to Ecuador, which has safe areas and dangerous areas. But the point is that the Knight of Wands would indicate that this person is headed southwest.
Well, first, I didn't want to interrupt you. If you're
I'm
still
done.
reading.
That's it.
Well, first of all, I just said the old yes or no on the pendulum. I got a yes about her moving. We didn't establish is this him or her. Did we?
I don't know.
Anyway, this wonderful person here, I did get a yes about moving soon. But as far as the rest of your question, again, the exhaustion card came up. You're just overwhelmed by all this. You've been feeling a sense of loss and despair from all of this. But I get that you're getting in touch with your own truth, your own authenticity, what you know is right for yourself. And that's going to go far in instigating you to do this, because I see also, I got the self-esteem card. This is very important for your self-esteem, your self-worth, rebuilding that, getting it back, getting back to your truth, your authenticity. And ultimately, I see pleasure. I see, it's going to end well for you. It's going to be good. Okay. Rebecca L. 135. What does Spirit say about my fatigue?
Well, my first thought is, do you have sleep? Do you have a sleep apnea? Are you snoring through the night, or are you getting adequate sleep? Like the first sign I was getting that cold, Francis was sharing a room with me, and I was, I was coming down with a cold. And so that was the first sign, was that I had, that inflammation in that area. But I would be looking at what's going on with sleep. I want to also get a blood test and make sure we're not looking at something more serious. But sleep is the first thing. If a person is tired, it could be that they're not getting adequate sleep. And right now, you're going to be okay. Also look at if you are too much of a burden. Too much weight is a burden. So this is why we want to lose weight, because too much weight is a burden. Your house of opposition, major changes happening as well, like the exhausting business of having relationships with others. Look at this. She got double aces. Yeah. They say that they want you to get excited about projects going forward. A heavy load. Also, your diet needs to be changed. So avoid sugar. And I'm feeling like a heavy load. It could be pointing towards weight loss. So I would look at sleep apnea and weight loss and physical exercise.
Well, I think you nailed that quite well. But I look at it as what's behind not being able to sleep well. What's eating at this person? My one big card I got was competition. The tug of war. Somebody who is being pulled in too many directions, and that can weigh heavily on a person. Use the word heavy weight. You're referring to physical weight, but that could also be emotional weight, psychological weight. I just am sensing this is someone who's being pulled in different directions, and that's where a lot of this fatigue is coming from, because
Mhm.
that's exhausting all to itself. And for whatever it's worth, I don't know, I also got the partnerships and love card. And didn't you touch upon that, Whimsy, that there could be something
Yeah.
to do with relationships here? So that came up for me as well, but that was the dominant thing: competition and a tug of war within one's own self.
Hmm.
I've certainly been there, and I felt that way.
Yeah.
Let's see, from Donna Luna, 6139, a basic reading at this time. I'm exhausted, but in good spirits with the future. There seems to be a running theme here,
Well, we
Whimsy.
talked about brain health today, and exhaustion could be, particularly if your adrenals are low. This is why we talk to people about DHEA. We talk about keeping your tryptophan and tyrosine levels up. We talk about B complexes so you can make adrenaline. We talked about sleep health for brain health. It's very important to get adequate sleep to make sure you're breathing properly. All of that was talked about today. Magnesium, a good multivitamin. Right now, I'm feeling like the moon is over her. Be careful about any substances, alcohol, marijuana,
Yeah.
or just lack of sleep that could be causing the exhaustion, because I don't like seeing the moon there. House of opposition. She could also be under strain because I'm feeling a strain possibly due to a relationship, possibly with a man, because she has that house of opposition being the king of cups, hopes and fears. Also, she could be a little bit stressed about the financial situation right now. I know a lot of people are, and it could be leading towards a physical crash. She could also be having a mild virus or something like that.
Well, yeah, it's so interesting because one of my biggest cards that jumped out of the deck was physical body. So I'm glad you elaborated upon that, because this was dominant for me also. I just let things fall out of the deck. Partnerships and love, unconditional love. What you said about relationship, I think that's there. I feel that there are decisions to be made, something to do with your community, being out in the world, people in your life, but some decisions there. I don't know how this is resonating. This is just what I got, but that physical body really stood out for me. And it's also about finding your higher truth, which is true for all of us. Many times when we're feeling exhausted and wiped out, we don't know what it is. It's because there's something that wants to reveal itself. It's trying to get our attention, our higher truth. What is authentically what you want in your life? How are you living according to your authenticity? Because I'm almost sensing there's a connection to that's why you're feeling exhausted, even though you say you're in good spirits about the future. That's what I have here.
Hmm. Yeah.
Wow, energy. We're hearing this a lot. I'm sorry, Warriors Queen Magic. Hey guys, anything on my energy for the rest of the week?
All right. So the main thing we get for your energy this week is you are the world, connecting to others, being a bridge that connects to other people, and we're seeing love as well. So
Wow.
yeah, good
I didn't
cards.
mean to interrupt you there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it just looks like it could be a very peaceful week. Take care of strain or difficulties. You could be overextending yourself, but I'm seeing that she's making a lot of connections. It's a week of connections.
Yeah.
But just make sure that you're careful about who has access to you, because I'm feeling like she's really out there in the coming weeks with that world card coming in with the Ace of Cups.
Yeah. No, you heard me go, wow, because I had very similar to you. It's very important. Uh, Unconditional love came up. It's very important for you to draw upon the unconditional love that you have within yourself. This is a big part of your purpose. And again, I got that community card. You're meant to take it out to the people. You're meant to take it out to the world. It may be just taking it out to your town or your family or whatever, but your purpose is your love and giving it to other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Oh, thank you so much. But anyway, that's where I feel you should focus your
Okay, I
energy.
think we just did this person.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Wow, people wanting to get the hell out of
I
their
think this is
places.
just this. Didn't we just do Warriors Queens? Magic?
Yeah, we did. But I don't mean to laugh about it. It's just, should I stay in Jersey or move? We're getting so many people asking these questions right now. So intriguing.
Well, maybe you'll move to Italy like the rest of us. You know.
I
Well,
may be doing this show a year from now from Italy. You know.
you know, that's true. I mean, if I'm spending $50,000 on a condo, I could spend $50,000 and live in Sicily.
Mm.
You know, they have those bidding wars, those old pensions and stuff that are because, you know, their population just tanked. People are not having 10 children anymore.
No.
And they're dividing up those pensions, like if it's got 10 rooms, into apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, well, maybe we should just do that.
I'm open.
I see. Chuck is like, yes, Whimsy, yes, that is what you need to do. But let's put our money together and buy a villa. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, let's buy a whole villa, you know, but I'm open to going to visit, checking it out, exploring, researching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get a test for sleep apnea, and that's definitely true.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yes, from Linda Kingsley, -GX2TD. I did a reading on Putin, Trump, Netanyahu, and I do not know if Trump will fail with Iran, but he will fail and it ends with 10 of Swords. I get Netanyahu will collapse, especially after Trump. Well, Whimsy, haven't we been getting we're straying away from this right now, but in past weeks and months, haven't we been getting that in our own readings?
Well, Israel is becoming increasingly right-wing, and there was a time when we thought blue and white unity was going to win, but unity has tanked in the polls in Israel, and they say Netanyahu is favored to win if they ran elections right now. So he is the longest running prime minister in Israeli history, and I think he was bought and sold by Putin. I mean, Putin, what happened to Israel is that Israel fell to Putin. It was a leftist country. It was a leftist cause. We were all a bunch of socialists. We would go to socialist camp and we would sing our socialist songs, and we were liberals, and it was great. And then sometime in the 80s, Putin sent his people in. They took over the Israeli government. There was huge security crisis that happened in Israel. And now it's basically Russia. So when you look at 1 million Russians immigrated to Israel, and I think Netanyahu is Putin's puppet. And I think that what Putin did is he collapsed some of the smaller countries like Israel before he started to take on the big guns like the United States. Mm-hmm. So it's going to take a lot to get rid of Netanyahu. Mm-hmm. And the sheer insanity of supporting Netanyahu, because Netanyahu's policies have not made Israelis safer. It hasn't made Palestinians safer. It's actually made things worse for everybody. October 7th happened with Netanyahu. So he has been terrible on security. Yes. He's been a disaster on security. And he's been a disaster for everybody, the Israelis and the Palestinians. So why in God's name you would want to keep voting a guy in office who's been horrible for everybody is beyond my comprehension. But, you know, there you have it.
From Linda Kingsley, GX2TD, Putin will leave and be in delusion, thinking he is okay, but someone will betray him. You know, we picked that up ourselves.
I think so.
She is going to have to revamp his strategy and make new deals, and he is the one who will succeed.
Yeah, I think so. I think that she has got to learn to. She should not be supporting Iran and is pulling back from Iran. And I think a new deal with the United States would only benefit China. Like, it's the right thing for China to do is to stop fighting with the United States and start working on chip deals and everything else. You know.
Donna Luna, 6139. Wow, just getting over upper respiratory infection. I have insomnia, so I don't sleep good. I have a guy friend, of course. He loves me, but he is overbearing. Sometimes I think he's a narcissist. Haven't we thought that a lot about our respective partners, Whimsy? A
Yeah,
lot of narcissism.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Chuck. Well, that's about wraps it up today. Did you have a good
I
day
had a
today?
good time. I love doing this show with you, and I love being with
Yeah.
all you fantastic people out there.
Mhm.
So
We're
thank
going to
you.
be shaking things up next week. And next week, we're going to be talking about the relationship that you have with nature. The
Mhm.
relationship that you have with nature. And by popular request, I did get a couple of emails on this. And I think that Chuck and I are going to be very excited about this. We're going to be talking about the metaphysical or the science of the fairy realm.
Yeah,
And
having
so
been in Cardiff, Wales.
yes, correct. We had multiple requests. I got 3 emails on it. So next week, both Tuesday and Thursday, both the entire week will be dedicated to Chuck and I studying about
Mhm.
fairies and folklore, and how you can connect with the fairies. Of course, many people are afraid of fairies. Fairies are
We
like
had a very
people.
positive experience.
Yeah, we the fairies loved us. I was disturbed by all the cadavers I was walking over because
Well,
well,
yeah,
the park used to be a graveyard, and
yeah.
they did not publicly announce to people this is a graveyard. But
Mm,
what
People,
happens when empaths go walking through graveyards? You start saying,
we were having a
"Chuck."
lot of conversation.
Yeah, we were frolicking, and then we looked over and we saw that a gravestone, they had chipped away at this gravestone
Yeah,
and removed the gravestone, and just the crumpled up gravestone was gone, and then the area was sunk in from
yeah,
where the person had been buried, and we just stood there and went, "Huh." And then
yeah,
we Googled it, that Captain Blair is buried at the
yeah.
southeast end of the, and then there's another huge monument to the friars who died in a fire in the,
Yes, in
what was
I
it?
think the late 1500s.
Yeah. So, but it is also on the list of enchanted places for those people who study and try to connect with the fairies.
Mm.
It is going to be an interesting conversation. I have done some remote viewing of the fairy kingdom. I am connecting with an entity. She says her name is Claire of the fairy kingdom. I'm trying to get information from her. I've been having astral dreams with her. She showed up after the Cardiff visit,
Mhm.
and Claire is kind of educating me about the culture of these energetic beings. They fall in love, make babies just like humans, but she's part of a greater band, and I think it's from the Cardiff area. But
Mhm.
one of the questions I had asked Claire was, I love that name, Claire. Isn't it pretty?
Yes, it is a
It
pretty name.
sounds like a lute or an instrument. But one of the things that Claire the fairy had said was, "Well, we're really like we're like people. Really, we're just like you, just like you. We
Yeah,
are conscious beings. We make love and have babies. I was born between a male fairy and a female fairy. They fell in love. They got married. They had me. I'm their daughter, and we live in these lands. And it's our job. We have a symbiotic relationship with the plants, and what we are just like you, really." She
Mhm.
said that some of us are good and some of us are bandits and thieves,
Oh yeah,
and we just like people, some of them are good and some of them you want to avoid. And what you need to know is that she wanted us to know, Clara wanted you to know, that we are very territorial. We
yes,
we don't like to move, though we are often attached to certain families. So
yeah,
if you're attached to a family for 10 generations and you share the land with that particular fairy, if they move to the Americas, some of them may hop on a boat and go with you and then settle in the Americas. And
interesting.
that was what happened when the fairies when these fairies began to show up from the old world and enter the new world, because then they had to share land with the fairies that had been sharing with the Native American tribes. So what she said is that this is why you have the cursed woods.
Mhm.
That if you hear legends of the cursed woods, it's because that particular band of fairies, their culture, their traditions, again, we're just like people.
Mhm.
If they don't want they don't want humans walking in their woods. Maybe
Yeah,
it's part of their spiritual beliefs.
we
Marriage.
talked about that. We were there. Yeah,
Yeah,
to the park. You were saying to me that if they don't want you there, they will let you know very quickly. And even if they have a gripe with one of your ancestors going
that's
back hundreds of
correct.
years, they can still take it out on you. But we just felt very welcomed. It was, to me, it was
Hmm.
a very um, warm, hospitable energy.
Right.
It was
And
very
I was
delightful.
wearing silver per somebody had said to wear silver. We wore
And I
silver.
forgot to do that.
Yeah, and we did have an herb which was cleavers. So when you went out into it, you were carrying the cleaver. So we were protected because we had the silver and we had the herb.
I felt very safe. I
Yeah,
initially
but
worried about it a little bit.
after I had had that connection with Claire, where she had said, don't assume everybody is your friend and don't assume everybody's your enemy. And we're a peaceful band and we don't mean anybody any harm, but you can't assume when you go to the next glen to an area that's a cursed land that they're going to want you there. And
Yeah.
so, not, I think that what she was saying is that we humans should not be naive about these entities, that
Right.
not every entity you're connecting with who is a conscious, energetic being, they're male and females, no, and probably everything in between and beyond, but they're not all your friends and they're
Right.
not all your enemies. And so that was just something that she wanted us to know.
Right.
So
I
next week, we're going to be delving into the fairy realm.
I think also because of just the intuitive work that we do, and we both contact the other side from time to time, we know intuitively to protect ourselves beforehand. So we were obviously protected when we did this. I did have some initial concerns because of that bad experience we had with the cemetery here in Hollywood,
That's right. They
but
didn't want
no,
us
it was
there.
nothing. But there was nothing like that in Cardiff, Wales. It
When I
just,
heard the children singing, that's when I knew something was off. Did
yeah.
you hear the children singing or on the back
Uh,
of that? I could hear
yeah, and I
children
remember, and the
singing.
flickering lights overhead. It
That's
was,
right.
and then
And then
we
they stole my wallet. They stole my
yeah, we
bag.
basically had the day from hell after that happened.
Then they
They just got
destroyed his
wonderful.
car. His car melted down, and
Yeah, my car started smoking.
they took my wallet and threw it away.
Yeah,
I lost my wallet. I lost my
your
passport.
passport.
But we
Yeah,
could hear giggling, and I thought at first I thought, well, it's just kids playing, which makes no sense that kids would be playing in the back of a mausoleum.
right.
I think what happens is they want to go be with Dorothy. But whatever the situation is, I think that the message is they're not always your friends and they don't
No,
always want to hang out with you.
I have to be extremely careful.
Right. Okay, Chuck. Chuck, how do people contact you if they need a
Okay, I
session?
know you need to go because you've got a client.
I
Just
do.
dransfieldchuck@gmail.com. I love to do readings for you. I love to do artwork for you. Have someone asked if I have a channel? Yes, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles. I have a show on Mondays, Chuck's Captivating Chat. I do readings on there. And anyway, Whimsy, let me hand it over to you.
Yeah, so I'm here at the Oracle of Whimsy. As many of you know, we'll probably be reaching 100,000 subscribers
Yeah,
in the next week or two. And for that, we're extremely grateful.
grateful.
I'm a naturopathic doctor, medical intuitive, remote viewer, and I would love to work with you on building a plan to help you heal your life. And so
Yes.
if you need to do that, you can book me through Booksy. All the information about booking appointments with me can be found below this video, or you can just Google me, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, and get my Booksy information that way. All right, we are out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we will see you next time, everybody.
See you next
Thank
time.
you for hanging with us, and
Thank
God
you.
bless.
See you next
Bye.
week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hold for